Ready to go? Dan, you ready out there?
Not yet.
I knew you were walking away, so I had a feeling it's kind of tough for you to do that remotely.
He gets here early and sets up.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Let's call this meeting to order. This is the Park Board meeting for October 11th. So let's call it to order at 5 o'clock. Peggy, can we have a roll call, please?
Frisch. Present. Van Campen.
Here.
Jameson. Miller.
Present.
Berman.
Here.
Knudsen.
Here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Item 3 on the agenda is the approval of September 13th, 2022 meeting minutes. All those were in the packet. Do we have any comments, questions from the Park Board regarding those meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Got a second? Any other discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you very much. Item 4, we do allow public appearances. Allows the community to offer up any discussion items they'd like to provide. It doesn't have to necessarily be on the agenda. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be action any taken, and the board would comment. Is there anybody that would like to present to the Park Board? Dan also has to turn backwards. Very good. Hearing none, we'll move forward. Item 5, reports of the village officers. 5A is the Public Works Report. Any status of the J.C. Park development, Dish Park progress, and any other park-related items.
The park report. We should run. Yeah, exactly. So let's first start with Dish Park. For those who do not know where that is, that's over in the Autumn Ridge subdivision. This is Wolf Street as it goes out. Whoa.
It moved.
Well, no, don't look at that one.
Too early for that.
Why did it go to that one?
That's
All right, hang on.
You have the controls, Jeff.
It's rushing you.
There we go. All right. Dish Park. I'm not going to touch anything here. So, as you know, it's really basically just an open field, kind of playing field space area that was for both phase 1 and 2, and even part of phase 3. And you can see it benches down here off of these homes, or slopes down here, bench, nice big open bench, and then goes down into the the stormwater plant here. This is actually something new that we did over here that worked out really well, is we have maybe 8 or 10 angled parking spaces there for accommodating people. There could be some future play equipment. I know the neighborhood has requested that, and we'll continue to look for those opportunities in the future. But that's Dish Park. Any questions on? You can see it's been seeded, Matt, and the developer has had some sprinklers out there.
So they did get it seeded. We weren't sure if it was
Yep.
going to be seeded this season,
Yep,
so that's
it is
awesome.
seeded and nothing green popping out yet, but we're hoping that some of these warmer days do that. Let's go to,
Did see the sprinklers going off as well, so that's
Yeah.
awesome.
so J.C. Park West, which is really starting to grow into its park drawers, so to speak. And so this is just an aerial photo taken just before we did actually the mezzanine concrete, and you can see the parking lots along here on Oak Street. These are the 3 main ball fields, as well as some inner areas. This is a mezzanine area that's all concrete right now, and I'll show you some pictures from that. And then this is the large open playing field that can accommodate a rugby pitch. It's the first one in the area. Expanded parking lot, and then this is the pickleball hallowed ground over here. So, and then we'll still have some play field areas over here for kind of smaller soccer fields, and then this will still be. Forgive me, I always forget which one was Stotts and which one was.
Stotts.
Is this Stotts?
Stays. Yep, Stotts stays.
Stotts stays. Okay, perfect. I'll remember it until about 20 minutes from now. So there's been some neat developments with that. Just kind of want to show. Oh, come on. Why does it do that? All right, hang on. All right. So this is the placing of the concrete on last Friday, and really kind of neat, a mechanical actual laser screed. So they place the concrete, and this little yellow device here goes out and actually knows exactly what elevation that concrete has to be at, and it screeds it off, which is kind of cool. This is them placing the concrete, and this is the screed over there. They did it with a real large, kind of a telescoping conveyor belt type system. So they were able to set up right where this is actually a nice thing of not having a concession building under construction, is they could set up right where the concession building is going to go and actually do all 4 legs of the concrete. And that's a chainsaw we ran over. All right, so this this is the mezzanine area after they had poured and then come in to saw cut all the joints. So you can see here, this is actually looking east. This is the structure of the dugout. There will be a white roof that goes on top of it, and the chain link fencing that'll go around it, powder coated. This is a future Musco light standard that will just be like that until we hopefully move ahead with the lights, part of phase 2. This is the center area where the concession stand is going to be, and so you see field and field. All the infield material is in and all brought up to elevation. It's just really starting to take shape. And this is a backstop area. What's not installed yet are 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think they're like 30-foot poles for backstop. The backstop, and it'll go to a netting system that's a tensioned netting system. So it's not going to be a chain link, which really does obscure viewing, and it's the kind of stuff you see over at the high school too. So it's something we take down and put up every year. But that's been about it. I have a friend, you've probably seen him flying his little red plane over the village whenever it's calm and nice. He's always up there. He's been providing me with updated pictures, and so it's been kind of fun to get these updated pictures. Everything has been seeded. The irrigation has been operating out there, and we're still waiting for the little green sprouts to sprout out, but I would expect hopefully by this weekend we'll start to see some germination. Paving is going to happen on the 19th of October, so a week from tomorrow, and that'll be a paving of all the paths, all the parking lots, including the pickleball area. Just so you know, and I have talked to pickleball about this, is we will not be, the surfacing on the pickleball, which includes the top coat surfacing and the striping, will be put off till spring because it's too cold to be doing it this time of year, and we just don't feel like it's smart to do a really nice surface and then send it right into winter and everything. So they're in agreement with that, and I think that's about it for JC Park. Anything else?
Any members have questions?
So was the concrete donated or was it none?
Nothing's been donated on this. Yeah, just blood, sweat, and tears.
Okay.
Excellent.
The mezzanine alone was 280 cubic yards of concrete. Yeah, trucks were going all day long.
All right.
It's fun. It's fun to see it start to come together. I think it's going to be, fun to see. You know, and we'll have to, of course, look at this at how and when we open it. But at the earliest, depending on grass and everything, at the earliest it would be this time next year, late season of 2023. More likely, spring of 2024.
Understand.
Yep.
Very good, Jeff. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Item 5B, Director of Community Development. So, item 1, introduction.
All right, I have a new buddy over here to my right, as you probably noticed. So this is Leanne Rhodes. She's our new Community Services Coordinator. I think actually our last park board meeting, it was the night before I heard back about the background check from the police department, so that all went through just fine. Then the following week, we had her confirmed by our village board. So she started
She's
late
got the ankle
September.
bracelet off, right?
Yeah, yeah. She's still been coming back. I think
Yeah.
we're on day 7 or 8 or
Mhm.
something
That's
like
good.
that. So far so good. But I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more and then share with you a couple of things that she'll be working on, and a couple of things you'll be seeing her come back with in the next few meetings.
Yes, as Elise said, I'm Leanne. I'm very happy to be here. I've lived in Oregon for almost 5 years. I'm here with my husband and 3 children, 3, 6, and 9. Both are in the Oregon School District. I'm on the Oregon PTO as well. And I'm happy to be here and happy to be of service any way I can.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Excellent.
She'll be working on some of the plans we've talked about for looking at our reservation system, seeing what we might be taking back over from the school district. I know you have a meeting tomorrow, right, with
Correct.
the Community Ed and Rec office. Alex Marks that helped us with that earlier this year. And some of the fee structure ideas that we talked about too. So we kind of just went over our schedule yesterday about making sure we have some check-ins with you guys over the fall and winter so that when we come around, we usually have kind of that February, March timeframe where we open up requests from the community organizations, the sports organizations. So we'll try to aim to hit that again next year, but just looking at what we can do a little bit better this year, and hopefully the process continues to be smoothed out as each year goes by and become more clear. So I just learn what worked well this year and what can be improved.
Excellent.
Leanne will also be working on a fee schedule, right?
Yep.
For park rental
Great.
and park use.
Great.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I think you're taking a look at it, some of the neighboring communities, what they have, kind of looking at what's a fair rate. Obviously, we want to keep things accessible for people. We don't want the fees to be onerous, but just try to cover some of the public works maintenance and time for setting up chairs, tables, extra trash cans, all that adds up. Some of the administration time just to coordinate all of that. So we'll have a couple of drafts, I think, of those fee schedules to bring before we take them to the board.
There were some research, Judy did some research along with myself, and they go back to the meeting minutes. I think it's March of 2018.
Okay.
I dug back to them to
Oh, wow.
find them. But we did a comparison of the fees from a neighbor areas, kind of excluded Madison, but looked at Stoughton. What were the other communities?
Verona?
Farland.
Verona.
And Verona. So we did a little bit of a comparison, but
Okay.
obviously the biggest difference is the type of resources available in the parks. So some of those parks have restrooms and other things and amenities to them, but so we look forward to that as part of the reason why we kind of put that off, to just allow somebody to be gatekeeper of that. But we've really identified that we are kind of unique and we don't have any other fees. And so I think kind of discovered in some cases that people would come to Oregon and have weddings or whatever because they didn't have to do anything for fees anyways.
And Public Works even picked up the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, we make it easy.
That is right. Well, welcome. Any
Thank
park
you.
board members, any comments, questions?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So 5B, number 2, update on 249 North Main Street, the property study.
So we did bump the date that this is going to be on the village board, so it'll be this coming Monday, the 17th. We originally thought it was going to be the previous meeting. So the packet will be out tomorrow afternoon if you want to take a look at kind of the summary document that Vanwell put together of summarizing all the community engagement that happened over the summer, the survey, and then there's also an appendix which kind of breaks out a lot more greater detail in terms of responses. It's pretty varied in terms of responses, and we got a lot of kind of open-ended ideas, so you can read through some of those. But I think we have some general themes that they were able to pull out. So Martin and I have our recommendation, and I won't steal our thunder, but you can read the packet tomorrow when it's out, and then we'll be discussing that a little bit more. I don't think we're planning on taking any action at the board meeting on Monday, but we'll kind of let the board probably sit with some of that information, let them digest and read through the results, and then move forward in whatever direction they decide to go.
Very good. Looking forward to that.
Yes, we am.
Yeah, that was out loud.
Yeah, that
Who
was
said
out
that?
loud.
Item 5C, Village Administrator Report, 2023 budget status.
So my report is no report. So nothing has changed since the last meeting that we had, except that the village board had their first budget meeting, and nothing has changed for the parks operational budget or the capital projects that have been put forward yet. So I have nothing more to add. They'll continue their budget review next Monday and possibly beyond that. So if anything changes, we'll keep you updated.
Appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the park board members? Very good. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate that. Item 6, communication and miscellaneous business. Item A was upcoming Anderson Park candlelight hike, which is November 5th on Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m. Just wanted to bring that to the attention. It draws a lot of awareness. A lot of it had to do with as the county park expanded in the dog park and the bike path in there. That's gotten quite a bit of traffic through there. It's been awesome to watch all of that activity, and so lots of dogs have gotten a lot more legs stretched out. It's amazing how much that park is always have somebody there early in the morning, late in the afternoon. And since it's easy connection, the awareness last year was huge. Didn't know where to put all the cars. So a lot of it had to do with the wonderful weather, but as Jeff was starting off early, you never know what November will bring. And so we'll look forward to that once again. But lots of representations from organizations within the village, but just wanted to kind of pick up on a lot of the success that Anderson Park had with volunteers. They document many hours of volunteer hours and expanded quite a bit, so welcome that as well. Any other questions, comments? Keep your mouth shut, Andy, aren't you? Okay.
Hey, it's fine. It's a good event. I hear the guy that plans it is a pretty outstanding guy.
I don't know.
I didn't know Roe was doing it.
Some great awareness. So item 7, unfinished business. A couple of things that we had on there was recommendations regarding a 5-year comprehensive outdoor recreational plan, which we'll be looking forward in the future to go forward to that. 7B.
Mark, can I interject? That was actually hoping that could be a discussion item.
Oh, okay.
So we have, I think I gave you kind of a heads up on this at the last meeting, but we have both our comp plan and then our park plan due for their updates through 2023, so hopefully they will be adopted by next December, and we'll be rolling with new plans by January of 24. I did bring this memo to our planning commission last Thursday to ask them, there's sort of a silver, gold, and platinum option for both of these plans, and because we will be running them in tandem, there's opportunities to have a little bit of cost savings, so these numbers aren't exact, but probably combining one community survey, community workshops that can kind of serve multiple purposes, having the park plan serve as the chapter regarding park and recreation in the overall comp plan. So these are, again, just kind of ballpark numbers, but wanted to go through specifically the quote for the CORP plan, which is the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. The basic option, which they've quoted at $17,000, is just the minimum DNR requirements. All of the maps, the data, the text gets updated with 5 years data, updated census information for our population, all of that, but does not really have any significant public input processes. The standard updates, kind of your middle of the road option, all the minimum requirements, but there are some opportunities for public participation, and then the advanced update is kind of both of those options below, as well as potential to do a conceptual park site design, so that could be an initial look at, the west side, kind of Keller Alpine Learner Park. I know we have that as a separate project in the CIP later as more of a deep dive, probably hiring a landscape architect or something. There can be a vision graphic, an interactive park and trail map is also included in that advanced update. Just so you know, the Planning Commission recommended doing the standard option, so the middle of the road option for the comprehensive plan. They don't necessarily have to be the same level. And Martin and I have included in our CIP these numbers kind of on the higher end, just estimating that, you know, we might want some of these features, or in case something goes over, we end up adding something to the project. We don't need to borrow that much, we won't, but right now we've earmarked about 30,000 for the park plan. But just wanted to get some feedback on you all, if you felt that all of the elements in the advanced update would be worthwhile and useful to the community, or if you felt that, you know, going with maybe the standard option would be sufficient. So we will take your recommendation, to the village board, I think in November, right, early November. We got enough on next Monday's meeting, so, and then, yeah, hopefully we can get this rolling in December with a kickoff meeting.
So for the advanced option, the
Mhm.
interactive park and trail map, what does that exactly mean? And could that conceptualize like a bike path of some sort?
So, it obviously not necessarily the infrastructure of building a bike path, but yeah, it could be something where, you know, I've already sketched out, I don't know if I've shown you the sort of on-road bike route through the village. Yeah, it could include things like that. It would likely be something that would be online, where it would be clickable, so you could say, you know, I'm interested in parks that have playgrounds, and here are all the ones that that have, you know, different amenities. I could ask them to provide some examples of communities that have done this plan and some of the interactive maps. I didn't ask for that specifically, but I imagine we could, you know, if there's a specific use or feature that we'd like to see in that, they would definitely be, you know, open to suggestions. We're the clients, so they want to make sure they're keeping us happy.
Yeah, it'd be nice to at least like see where potential things could come together.
Mhm.
Either bike or pedestrian, walking, bipedal,
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know if I've shared this, but we did get a grant from the DOT to do a bike and ped study, and so Lauren Striegel, our assistant public works director, helped allow with that application. But we're thinking that'll actually come on the heels of the park plan, so that'll actually be a separate plan, which will really be more of a traffic engineer looking at, where are the gaps in your, you know, sidewalks and your walking networks, where are the gaps in your multi-use paths, and recommendations for improved crossings or sections of trail. So that'd be more kind of the nuts and bolts recommendations for actually building new infrastructure. This park and trail map would be kind of just, I imagine it's a PDF map, but it's or a function on our website that's clickable and searchable, and you can, again, if you're looking for, it might be even tied to a reservation system, I'm looking for shelters, you know, where are those geographically located, and then you can click and find out, you know, here's pictures, here's how much it costs to reserve. So it's more of just informational.
So is that something we couldn't, or you guys couldn't do, I guess, as like an admin department, like just throw that, maybe not throw it together, but like make that document and put it on the website?
Yeah, we
Like if
certainly
it's
could.
just kind of, I mean, I guess what is the advantage of going with the company?
Just the fact that
They
it
do
allows
it.
staff to
Not
do
do
other
it,
things.
yeah.
I think with Leanne on board, we have some more capacity, and, you know, definitely taking more off my plate to be able to do some of that. Again, we could always do that later once we get the park plan updated, and they'll definitely be including, you know, here's the map of our existing facilities that's in the current plan. So it may even just be taking that map and adding some clickable links and features to that. If we feel like some of the other elements of the advanced update aren't really necessary, I'm not really sure what they mean by a vision graphic. And again, the conceptual park site design, they've done a little bit of that for us on the west side park near where the library is going. But I know that's kind of, again, been earmarked as a separate project in our CIP to work likely, again, with the landscape architect on actual planning and looking at what lands are usable out there, which properties should really be left to wetlands and nature, what trail network, any fields, those type of things that want to be developed out there. So I guess my thought would be, I think a standard update would be perfectly fine at this time, and we can always do separate projects, add those things on later, or see with this updated plan what we have capacity to do in-house as staff, a year from now.
I think DeForest had something on their website. I'd stopped in there too, and I picked up a really nice brochure that they had for walking and everything. So you might want to check the DeForest website too.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, something that's just, printed material is definitely a lot easier to put together. And I know Candy is planning at some point, I'm not sure what year that's at, but kind of an update to our website too. So that might be something that when we're doing a whole refresh, we can think about how all this park reservation, all the maps are kind of organized and accessible online.
It makes sense that the standard seems to be appropriate. I don't anticipate any major park changes in that 5-year plan. We're looking at what I guess our requirements, certainly in DNR, what we need in the spaces, but I would envision we'd need as much of the vision graphics, type of things. Having the ability to have a little bit of public input would be valuable from their perspective. We don't want to keep this hidden away. We want to make sure people realize that there is a plan, there's things out there, and try to capture some of the ideas. And I think when we get in and compare our parks to some of the neighboring communities, we'll look at the parks themselves and say, what enhancements, what should we be doing, what can we do, and how can we utilize these more effectively and be effective with
And
it.
I think regardless, the update will include kind of a focus for the park plan on different types of uses. So we've talked about, the playgrounds and the tot lots, discussing what do we have now, what needs to be improved, what are our future needs, and then, active uses for the ball fields, the multi-use playing fields. Do we see that need growing? Is that, are we gonna be okay now with where we are at with JC Park and the existing fields, or should that be something we're looking at adding when we are adding new neighborhood parks? And then, kind of more of the passive active recreation, so the biking, the walking, the kind of those type of uses in our parks. What's the need? Do we need more spaces for that, or are we okay with what we have? So I think a lot of that will be done, again, regardless of whichever tier we go with, but will be helpful for you all as we're looking at new neighborhoods and thinking about making sure those new parks are going to accommodate and meet those needs that our community's identified.
Just looking for an action that we can send forward to the village board.
A recommendation.
Recommendation?
Yeah, I would recommend a standard update. I would recommend that to the village board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So with the action and a second, is there any discussion? Any other further questions, comments about moving forward the standard corp update?
Well, Mark, I just think it's important what you said, to make sure we have that community input, so that way the community doesn't feel like we're, we or the village is doing something, either behind their back or, that they wouldn't know about.
I agree. Any other comments? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. So moved. Send that forward. Elise, thank you very much for bringing that forward and talking about it. So moving to item 7, the unfinished, item 7B, student member. We still have a vacancy in the student member. Dave Jamison, directly involved in the school, in a previous correspondence that he was not able to make it. He has done some outreach thus far. No success as yet. Looking for some responses, so he knew that we could burden him with that. But we'll keep working on that, see. Certainly there's different avenues. I even look at in a student that may be interested in any kind of historical or government type of activity, just be aware it doesn't have to be focused just on parks themselves, but be valuable to get, Miller Stang was valuable to join on, but she graduated, so therefore that changed that plan. So we'll look forward to bring a student member in. 7C, recommendation to village board for installation of a temporary ice rink at the Rustic Vineyard Park by Nick White. In the packet, there was some further information that was put together. Sounded like it was an agreeable type arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, again, I think as it's out of the stormwater pond, which was our main concern, as long as it is something we felt was recommended for approval by the park board, and the village board put their stamp of approval on it. Nick couldn't be here this evening. His kid has hockey tryouts tonight. So, yeah, there must be very active in hockey, obviously, but, you know, they're going from previous history with them. They've taken care, they pulled everything out, removed everything this last year and restored the area, so I have no doubt they'll be able to do the same. And we walked around, I met him out on site, and you can see, this is, North Prairie Parkway. This is, what is the name of that street? This is the park. This is Rustic Vineyards Park. This is where they had the rink last year, and there's some nice flat area, whether it's here or here, somewhere in this area before you get to the ball field, and, so, you know, they're gonna start setting that up. He asked if they could put out signs just to have people not on it until it's ready. And you can see I added a few recommendations in there just to restrict hours to 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and make sure it is known that it's for public use, and then with the understanding that we can rescind it at any time and just say, I'm sorry, it's not working out, and have them stop using it or whatever.
No parking garage for Zamboni?
No, I did joke around with him. I said, well, you know, so you're not gonna have like an organ out there this year, you know, playing, you know, the fight song and all that kind of stuff. He says, no, we're starting with just the Jumbotron this year. So, kinda expect to go out there and see a big old projection, one of those things you always see on the curbs. But no, he's good natured about it all, and, we'll see, you know, this is all on their nickel, and it'll be nice for the neighbors.
We'll need a couple extra hoses, I'm guessing, to reach out there.
It's not that much farther than where they were before, so, yeah.
Excellent. So we're looking for an action on this, is that correct, in order to?
Yeah, just to recommend to village board the conditional approval, like it's written there in the motion.
Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Judy. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Any comments, any other discussion in regards to the motion about conditional ice rink? Andy?
Yeah, Jeff, I think it was good, you know, that you restrict the hours to it, and then also to make sure that, you know, people do know that it's available for public use.
Right.
As well. I think it's a great use of parkland, you know, that would normally not be used, you know,
Correct.
during the winter. And if people around the village see, you know, that this is something that they can do, you know, in, you know, quote unquote, their park, you know, maybe you'll see more of this,
Yeah.
you know, popping up, so.
Yeah.
I guess I don't see the harm in, you know, allowing it this year as a trial basis, and then kind of reassess after the season and see how things go.
Yeah, I didn't want to make him have to come back every year. I was kind of feeling
Right.
like, you know, as long as things continue to go well, that we would, you know, kind of allow it, you
Mhm.
know. But I did want to make sure that it was, you know, we could rescind that approval at any time. You know, if let's say I have to send a crew out there this next spring to clean it all up, then we would write them a letter and say, I'm sorry, we're
Right.
rescinding the approval of that, and you're no longer allowed to do it, so.
I think it was also a great process to learn about retention ponds and understanding that aspect about it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't go in those areas,
Yeah. Right.
understanding the park areas and
We don't
also the
prevent people
liability.
from going out on the ponds in the winter. I mean, that was something that Matt said, you know, it's no different than letting people go out and walk around the parks and do stuff like that. We don't monitor ice thickness and it's just like anything else. You're on public land at your own risk. But we're also not setting out goals for people, and there was a time we even sent out staff and scraped off the ice or scraped off the snow and flooded areas, and we're just not doing that anymore.
Right,
At least not on the ponds, the stormwater ponds.
right. I think it was a good process overall to learn, and I think that really helped us
Yeah.
out to understand that. That was awesome. All in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Thank you.
So, item 8, any other new business items and any other discussion items? Anything the park board members would like to comment?
I do have one thing I was thinking about the other day, so bear with me. I don't know the road names. So there's Netherwood, which I know that one. Okay, and then there's the bike path.
Cusick Parkway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Oregon Rotary Trail takes a left, or you can go left there, and the bike path is here. So when I first moved here, I will admit it, I did it myself, and I almost started crying when I realized what I did, but there was a car stopped turning left, and I went around him in the right, and I realized it was a bike path, and I was like, oh my God, because you can't see
Oh, you're
what's
talking
coming.
along Netherwood, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a separated, but it's only delineated by a line.
Yeah, and I've
Mhm.
seen other cars do that. So I was wondering if we could get those long reflector type things or something to at least put where
Mhm.
people are turning to avoid that.
Oh, just in that area at that
I mean, it'd be
intersection.
great to see it all along the road, but
Mhm.
I think the parts where people are turning where you wanna.
So people,
Go.
they were bypassing the
On
car
the-
turning
yeah.
and using the
Yeah.
bike lane
That
to
happened
do
to me
it.
today, actually.
Oh, wow.
Someone went around me there.
Yeah, and I
Um,
thought if there would have been a kid my heart
Yeah.
dropped
Me.
when I realized what I did, but, so, I'll be the example in that story. But it would be great to just have
Probably have to be
something.
removable, right, for winter times.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do already have them out on, we do already have them out on Southbury Parkway for the school district, to
By
keep people
RCI.
from
Yeah.
turning left over there.
Right.
So,
And I think that's the only place, cause up by Leap Above in that area, and there's a sidewalk. I mean, and then you can't go around.
so are you talking right here here, I'm gonna
Yeah.
turn
I
on.
think so.
Okay, so this is, I'm not gonna use Chrome. So this is
Yeah.
the pond right here, and this is the parking lot over here to the park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this where you're talking about? And then
right in that intersection.
this is where you went around and other people went around.
That's where mostly
That's
I
on
did it
record.
one
We'll have
time, I know.
Chief Jenny will be talking to you tomorrow. A mission
on
of
the
a,
record
of
now.
a traveling.
It is on the record.
No, and so kind of thinking delineators at least along here that would, yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea from a functionality standpoint. From a plowing standpoint, it does make things a little more challenging, but I don't see why we couldn't do that there. I'll look at it.
That's fair enough.
Or maybe something that you could remove once the snow fly, once the snow flies, you could potentially remove them, Jeff.
Yeah, we've
That-
done that, because I know they have, once those things stick down, they're really hard
Oh,
to get off.
okay.
But I do know you can buy adhesive pads to replace them with and stuff, so I'll talk to Nick about it, and he and I will go out and take a look at it. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Like I said, it happened to me today. Someone went around.
There's a sign that says bike crossing, I'm pretty sure there.
But does it say bike path only?
I don't think.
Along
Oh,
there anywhere?
along there,
It-
yeah, let's,
If you weren't paying attention, you'd probably think
see
it was
if
a
we can
passing
see
lane.
Jamie
Right.
here in our
I
photo.
just moved here.
Okay, I think, yeah.
And people do ride in the winter, so I guess I'd encourage if we could
Right.
somehow leave it.
Yeah, there's not much, there's a bike path there, yep, bike lane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's something here.
There's a turtle crossing along there.
But is there one on the
Well, the
corner?
turtle crossing always gets stolen.
Stolen.
This is a bike crossing there. Look at how big that sign is. Not.
That's from 2 years ago.
I know when we've talked about,
Yeah, there's bike
doing
lane.
like a on-street bike route, we've even talked about doing a stencil, right
Yeah.
now on the road is just white
bike?
for the bike, but it can be kinda hard to see, especially when it gets salty on the road, so,
Mhm.
we end up doing that project.
No, that's
that-
not
Oh,
Jamie.
they blur out the
They
face.
do a good job.
Blur
Blurring
out.
the face.
There's Jamie there, right?
It's you, Joe, driving?
It was Jamie
Yeah,
and their bike.
That was me that passed me today.
Cause there's also some, as we get to this area here, it's a little tricky too, but. Yeah, I don't like personally on-street bike paths because, that's an actual bike path. Bike lanes are different, but,
Right.
yeah. Nick and I will take a look at it and we'll get back to Park Board in the future.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. And Mark, I have one more thing too.
Yes.
Talking about new developments and stuff, Jeff, the new development off of CC, where all those Lennar houses are, Highlands and Netherwood. and
Yeah,
moving
Highlands, yep.
south. I see they have, paths in that neighborhood along CC. Is there any plan to connect that back to, the village proper?
Yes. Yes, we, don't we have that, I think that's part of the capital plan. 'Cause
Are we talking down Jefferson Street?
Yeah, so let me get back to where I need to get to.
Some of those properties are still in the town.
Right, yeah, that's where I was kind of
Well,
wondering
no,
too.
what we would like to do is, right now, there's a path, so this is North Bergamot Boulevard.
Yep.
This is the
The
Highlands
Beehive.
subdivision. So we have a path from here down to here right now.
Right,
So our goal at least is to get the path finished from here to here, and then they can get on Oregon Center Drive and much safer than riding on Jefferson Street to get them back here and eventually to the path over
right,
here.
to Alpine, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious if there was any thoughts of
We,
connecting it right, continuing it there. I mean, you're
no,
going
not
through all
along,
those little
not along
stormwater
here right
ditches.
yet, no. Yeah, we've just improved the crossing here, and then we know we need to make this small connection along here.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of goes back to the corp plan though of a map or something. If people see this path and then they get to a road and go, okay, where the heck do we go now?
Yeah,
That's where that interactive map would be,
Yeah.
good with that.
we could do signage too, that would say,
Mhm.
bike path, or, bike route. As you like wind through, if you ever been through Monona, and you wind through there, and there's just at every intersection,
Sure.
there's a directional sign for that.
Usually, if not, you end up somewhere else.
I mean,
Right,
it's just one of those things where you see this path and then it stops. It's kind of like along, MM there with the new
yeah.
development over in Autumn Ridge.
New areas are very famous for paths to nowhere.
Right, yeah, I mean,
and
you want these paths, you want to connect, but then,
Well,
They
we
don't always
do that
connect.
because, obviously, the developer for Highlands is paid for this path extension. Which is was partially true, but normally they should pay for all of it, along here. But we put those in for now, hoping that when we do other areas, they then connect.
sure.
And we see that a lot on Wolf Street over near Autumn Ridge, kind of sidewalks to nowhere right now.
Now, there's also a way you can work with Google Maps to actually route, this is our internal village
Mhm.
bike route or maps or something. So again, maybe once we have that plan, that'll be something we can, I did that at my last job. We built some new roads and, we're able to work with them to get them mapped before,
Sure.
people were living out there and everything, so. Be a future project.
Great, thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. Any other comments from the park board members? So the upcoming meeting date is November 15th, which is the third Tuesday of the month due to the election. And so then following in December, December 13th. Any park board members have any objections to any of those dates?
No.
Good deal. Excellent. So 8B as future items and assignments would be Hermiston property information and possible tour. I know I toured
You got that
property.
stuff, didn't I sent you something on Hermson?
No, you sent me stuff for the trees going into J.C. Park West. You might have sent, I don't think you sent me the stuff
I
for
did
Hermiston.
send you the stuff on
You and I
Hermiston.
were gonna try and get together to do a tour at one point in time, but if you could find that information, I would love to see it.
I can send.
It's worth going for a tour. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it would have to be through Patrick, which I'm sure he'd be happy to give us a tour. What I can do is at least dig up the agreement that the village
Sure.
has with the Hermson family, and then I'll have that distributed to the park board members.
Yeah, that would be great.
Any other business for the park board? Hearing none, I call for an adjournment.
I will move to adjourn.
I will second it.
All in favor, say by aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
All right?
Same sign. So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.